Hey everyone, welcome back to Tactical Foul. I'm your host, Kyle Grew, and we have another edition of our TC Zoom series. Today we're going to do something a little bit different. Us as a club, we want to make sure that the community is very collaborative and we get everyone involved. So we enlisted some help from players and families alike to give our guests some questions. So hopefully there's some good ones. So without further ado, Tyler Channel.
How you guys doing? Thanks for having me, Kyle. Appreciate it.
Yeah, of course. Always a good time. Off the bat, just go ahead and run down the list of all of the titles you hold and the teams that you coach right now.
Yeah, for sure. So I just got, along with Cameron and Phil, I got appointed director of the U13 to U19 age group director role over here at National Tri-County. And then the current teams that I coach, I do the 07 girls black, the 07 boys black, the 05 girls black, the 04 girls black, the 03 girls black, and then I'm also the assistant coach over on the women's side over at Saginaw Valley.
Awesome. Yeah, got a lot going on, huh?
And hopefully a summer team as well if we get some summer soccer going down with the team called Motor City FC, an amateur team with the womenens side. But
yeah, that'd be great.
Who knows with everything going on with that?
Yeah, I think we'd all love to be doing something at some point this summer for sure.
Yeah, for sure.
So what I want to do is, obviously the whole thing is so everyone can kind of get to know you. So why don't you talk a little bit about where you come from first and then
Yeah, so originally I grew up down in Metro Detroit, a city called Troy. Went to a high school called Troy Athens. I'm playing soccer all my life, multiple sports pretty much all my life, and then ended up going to school to play soccer up at SVSU. Graduated there in 2015, and I've kind of been coaching ever since. So that's kind of the journey since I was just a little toddler all the way up to where I'm at now.
Awesome, man. All right, so very first question that we have is actually from Lily Graham, who plays on the 04 black team, and she wants to know what got you interested in soccer.
Well, it's the best game in the world, first of all, so it's pretty easy in that regard. But no, my dad was a pretty big soccer player, and just growing up, my mom wasn't a huge kind of sports person, so kind of just got attached with it right away with my dad. And ever since I was probably 3 or 4 years old, when I was able to kind of be running and kicking a ball, that's been really my dominant sport. I played a bit of basketball for a bit, but soccer's been just the dominant force, and it's mainly been because of my dad. So yeah.
Awesome, for sure. Now, many people asked about this. Obviously, you kind of mentioned when you started playing, but also what clubs did you play at growing up, like youth clubs?
Oh yeah, it's a long laundry list. I started off with TSC, which is still around. It's Troy Soccer Club. I started at U9. I played rec soccer. We called it TYSL, Troy Youth Soccer League, all the way up till I was U9, and then got our butts kicked by the Michigan Gators 10-1, and I moved over there my U10 year, which is now Nationals that we work for. Then that U11 year we merged into Metro Stars, which is no longer a club, and then the following year U12 we merged into obviously Vardar, that's still around, so we were called Vardar and Metro Stars. So not my doing, but I just kept kind of moving clubs that way. And then played from U13 as well. And then U14 to U17, I moved over to a club called FC Nova, which is pretty much the boys side of Nationals that is now. And then my U18 year, I moved over to Bloomfield Force, which is now the Liverpool Academy that's out of Metro Detroit as well. So, and I played on a super wide 20 team with Bloomfield Force as well. So pretty much, I think that's maybe 6-7 clubs. I don't really know, but just a couple of my doing for various reasons.
Yeah, for sure. But yeah, you got a lot of different experiences, which
Yeah.
is always a good thing. So the next question we have is from Kelsey from your 07 team, and she's wondering which team or pro team do you support?
Chelsea Football Club out of the English Premier League. Been a fan since I was about 7 or 8 when I was over in England. Got to go to a game, and I just got a jersey from my parents, and I've been a supporter ever since.
Yeah, I mean,
easy.
Can't beat that, right? Like, they got you sucked in early, huh?
Yeah, for sure.
So I want to talk about being a fan a little bit. Obviously, both of us being, massive fans of just a sport. what does being a fan help most with coaching? Like, is there something that really, boosts your coaching, helps in a certain way?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think everything you do, as long as you're around the game still, it's helping you in some regard. I mean, being a fan, especially at Chelsea Football Club, it seems like they get a new coach every year. So I get to kind of dive into the new tactics and new philosophies and how that coach runs his club. Not that anything I'm doing is any similar to their level, but you can pick apart anything that even at the highest level or the lowest level, you can kind of tailor it to your own. And then just being a fan, you get to constantly be supporting the team, and it keeps you involved in soccer. Even though this is a 7-day-a-week job, it keeps it a little fresh instead of just constantly worrying about coaching all the time. You get to kick back and watch the team play, hopefully 2-3 times a week.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, there's not much that I get excited to wake up at like 7 o'clock in the morning for, but that's
You get a coffee and watch some Prem for 3-4 hours. It's quite nice.
Oh, for sure, for sure. So next question we have is from Natalie Vance from your O5s. She was wondering, did you play club and high school at the same time?
Yeah. Well, obviously, high school was in the fall for the boys, and then once that season was done, whether it was October, November, immediately was into club. And then, but yeah, we didn't really do like a showcase thing or anything back in the day or anything like that. So, and the high school that I went to was pretty well populated, so the quality was quite good across the board in terms of the players that I had around me and the teams we were playing.
For sure. So, I mean, obviously you had a good setup.
Yeah.
What would you say though? Obviously I think it's kind of a little bit of a hot topic is like the club versus, the all year club versus the high school debate. What would your opinion on that be?
Yeah, it's quite situational. I mean,
Sure.
even downstate with the academy kind of folding, but they take that opportunity, even though they play in some really populated and high level high schools. They take their opportunity to play full year club because typically it's better player environment and training environment. If you're in a situation where that's not going to be a good thing for you and you think your club team is a better opportunity, whether it's better coaching or better players around you. And also when you get to high school, the whole the college soccer thing comes involved, and you're not really going to ever get the college recruiting at a high school level. It's really just kind of a social event and just to kind of have fun for a few months. But if you're going to go to 3-4 showcases that spring, I prefer probably to do that even if I went to a good high school. That's kind of my opinion, but I'm usually not right sometimes.
Fair enough.
So I'm told.
Nah, you're fine. Next question comes from Brianna Gervers from row 3s. When did you know that you wanted to play college soccer?
Probably since my recreational soccer days. I mean, I think like quite a bit of kids want to go pro. I mean, that was kind of my thing I wanted to do ever since I was young enough to even really know what that was. But obviously that's a really unrealistic thing for a lot of people. So college soccer was the step below. And yeah, I think ever since I was actually realized that I was decent enough to play at a decent level, I think that's really one. So maybe 6 or 7. I don't know the exact age, but when I was
sure. It didn't take long, basically.
No.
Awesome. So another question from Natalie Vance goes along with college. What went into choosing SVSU, and how did you ultimately come to that decision?
Yeah, I won't go the full detail of all the recruiting stuff that I was a part of, but the schools that I was kind of looking into that I had a realistic chance at going to scholarship-wise and playing time-wise were just a bit too far out of my location range, and SVSU was just an hour and a half at most north, so I was able to see my family on weekends if I needed to go down or whatever it is. My family could come up. All the other schools that I was kind of looking at were 4 or 5 hours away, so it's not like I could just get in my car and make a quick trip down there. So that was really the biggest thing that set it apart. All the schools that I was getting recruited by were pretty much the same level, so it wasn't a talent-wise or anything like that. And the coach that I went to was a good coach as well, so that helped out for sure.
It just was a good situation all around for you.
Yeah,
sure. Obviously, there's a lot of variables that go into the recruiting process and all of that. And you don't necessarily need to talk about everything you did, but we do have a lot of, girls, boys that are in these situations where they're getting ready to get recruited or are already. What kind of advice, especially from your standpoint where you're in the college game, what's some of the best advice that you can give players getting recruited?
Do more than you think. I think that's a big hurdle for a lot of people. They kind of sit on their hands and they kind of just think it's going to fall in their lap and a coach is just going to see them all the time. That's not really how it works, unfortunately. I mean, usually a college coach goes to a game and they're looking for one or two, maybe three specific players, and maybe randomly they'll see this fourth or fifth player that's good enough that catches their eye, but most of the time they're just going to look at a few kids. So if you can get your name out there, have your club coaches get your name out there, high school coaches, whoever it is, just get your name out there in front of college coaches. So when they look at a sheet and they say, oh, that's who was emailing me. Obviously don't be emailing them every day and stuff like that and make them think you're crazy, but make sure you're getting a hold of them and asking for advice that people know what they're doing, so, but do more, make videos, send emails. The more you do, it's obviously going to eventually help you at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, without a doubt, the advancements of technology has vastly improved what you can do and increased what you can do. Because, I mean, we've talked about a little bit. I think, I had like a little highlight tape. Shout out to Cameron for putting that together for me. But, it was about all you could do. Now there's so many avenues to go, so many websites and different things. So
yeah, video and showcases weren't a huge thing back in the day when we were playing, but now it's pretty predominant and everyone's doing it. So you gotta kind of separate somehow.
Yeah, absolutely. All right. So the next question, another great question from Lily Graham. What is the college experience like? And then, what is your schedule like as far as school, but then also your training schedule?
Hectic is a really good word to describe it. Hectic, but enjoyable is, I guess, the best way I can kind of describe it. I mean, NCAA regulates it, so you have to have 1 day off a week. So typically, especially at the Division II level, I mean, you have Monday off, and you'll train Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and then you'll play a game Friday, have a walkthrough Saturday, kind of like a light day, and then a game Sunday. So you're getting right back into it, whether it's a road trip on a weekend and you get back at 1 a.m. that Sunday night going into Monday morning, and you got to get up for 8 a.m. classes and then go to class all day, and then go into soccer the next day. I mean, when I played at SVSU, we had a Tuesday 6 a.m. session and then a 3 p.m. session on the Tuesday. So we always had a 2-a-day during the week, and then we had train Wednesday and train Thursday. So it was quite a lot. I mean, you're bouncing from your apartment or your dorm room to get a snack, and then you're going to class, and you're going to class, and then you're going to the locker room to get your stuff on and go into training. So it's a lot. It definitely keeps you busy, but I know once I was done with college soccer and I was still just taking classes, it felt like I had the most free time in the world. So it's almost like a 24-hour job, man. You're going to sleep, you're thinking about soccer, school, whatever it is. You're up till 4 a.m. studying for a test, and you got to get up at 7 a.m. to go to a class and then go to practice. So it's constantly bouncing back and forth between your two top priorities, and obviously you got to get a degree and everything like that. But like I said, it's hectic, but it's definitely enjoyable at the end of the day.
Yeah, for sure. Obviously, you had a good career as a player, and as a student. But so, what were some of the lessons that you learned from your time at SVSU, whether it be it as a soccer player or just in life?
Yeah, that's a good question. I think of the 5 years from 2011 to 15 that I was there, learned quite a bit just about me personally, for sure. I mean, 2011 went in, had a pretty good freshman year. Didn't really do a lot of schoolwork kind of stuff. Didn't really go to a lot of class, and eventually that backfired on me because I was ineligible for the 2012 season, and I kind of had to buckle down and make my main priority was school. And then I ended up getting my GPA up quite a bit, and then ended up graduating with a pretty high GPA. But that year that I kind of had to sit out of soccer, I learned quite a bit about myself in terms of getting your priorities straight. And soccer is not the most important thing in the world. Your schoolwork is, family is, and stuff like that. So Yeah, I learned a lot. I mean, 2012 we lost in the national championship, and I wasn't able to play, and I started a decent amount of games our freshman year. So I like to think that I would have been able to kind of contribute that 2012 run, but sometimes you got to get knocked down quite hard and try and figure out a way to get back up and kind of make the most of it. So yeah, it was a tough year for sure, but I think at the end of the day, kind of made the most of it. At least I try to do my best to make the most of it for sure.
Yeah, I would say based on the career you had, you probably did. And you got some more opportunities. And another question from Natalie Vance: what was the experience like playing for DCFC?
Oh yeah, it was fantastic. I mean, you could just go on YouTube or whatever you want and Google just DCFC, and probably a million things pop up, and you can see some video of what the games are like. And there's really nothing like it. I mean, it's very tough across, especially the United States, even if you're go to an MLS game, just the experience and the passion and that those kind of people have for the team and everything like that. I mean, not just at games, but in terms of like making dinners for the players, just the fans are just something different. I mean, you go on Twitter, you can tweet something and they're just hundreds and hundreds of things back to you. I mean, they really do care about their players. They care about the club. It's something special. I mean, when you get 8,000 people at a game they're at a semi-pro level that I was at. Now they're obviously pro, but just screaming and hollering and chanting and smoke bombs the last 5 minutes. They do like a sing thing where it's constantly loud and it's never quiet. And usually the last 5 minutes you can't even see the field because there's just smoke all in your eyes. So it's a cool experience. I mean, I got to play with some extremely high level players, some professionals, and some high level D1 kids and all this kind of stuff, and it made some good friends along the way. It was a fantastic experience that I would never regret. It was great 2 summers for sure me that I got better as a player for sure at the end of the day.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, obviously, besides the atmosphere and whatnot, what are some of the major differences between that level and then the college level?
In terms of level of play, there really wasn't much different. I mean, when I played for DCFC my 2 summers, we had 6 or 7 kids. The D2 level only allows you to have 6 kids, I think, a summer, and I think D1 is 5. So we were capped out of the amount of kids. I'm sure there could have been more kids from SVSU playing, but I mean, we always played them in the spring season at SVSU. We played DCFC in the spring season, which was kind of cool because got to play them and then go play for City in the summer. But I think we tied 3-3 my 15 year, the summer before I went and played. And then I think it was a 1-1 game, maybe my 16 spring. I don't know. But obviously they're always competitive. The biggest difference is there's a lot of older players for sure at City. So, I mean, there's some like 32, 33-year-old guys that are ex-professionals that are still fantastic players. I mean, they're still fit, still really good on the ball and all that kind of stuff. So when you go to City, it's like, especially when you're a 20, 21-year-old kid and you go and play up against a 31, 32-year-old kid that's obviously can still play at a really high level. That's something where you're not like you're pretty much like a boy amongst men at that point. Not everyone's that level or that age or anything like that, but some older guys, like I think our captain for the most part, Dave Edwardson, was 3-4 years older than I was. I think he was 26 when I was 21 or 22, and he was still a fantastic player, very fit. Now I think he's finally done with City. I'm not really sure, but just kind of the experience, I guess you kind of say, because they came from all over the country. It's not just like at SVSU, the guys from different clubs and you played with and stuff like that. So the level was quite similar, but in terms of like the player personnel was quite different for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, for sure. Before we go into this next question, I want to make sure that I do you some justice here. So obviously you said you think that you did yourself justice. Well, I would say if nothing else, your senior year you did, winning your second GLIAC Offensive Player of the Year. You had 19 goals, 14 assists, totaling 52 points. So pretty decent year. Yeah, you're not too upset about it. So what I want us to walk through, after having a year like that, walk us through a little bit, what goes on after that. Obviously, not everyone gets the opportunities that you did, but when you have a season like that, it opens a few more doors.
Yeah, I mean, in terms of the combine stuff and that.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah. So after that, the season was done. we obviously wanted to advance it quite a bit further than we did. So, but my season was done and I got a few phone calls and whatnot. I was lucky enough to go to a 20-player combine at Columbus Crew. Mainly players pretty much throughout the Midwest. I think I was the only Division II kid there, and all Division I kids. So kids from Notre Dame, Ohio State, stuff like that. Columbus Crew coaches all there and stuff like that. And then I was also able to go out to Real Salt Lake, which is out of Utah, and went to a 3-day combine there. A lot of West Side State kids. I think there was 25 kids there. There was one other Division II kid there. A lot of like UCLA and kids like that caliber of kind of kids over there. And then I went down to a nationwide combine down in Florida for a couple days as well. And then that got me to a point where I didn't get picked up by any of those teams, obviously, but it got me to the point where I got into the MLS draft. And obviously I didn't get drafted, or I might not be in this position I am now, but yeah, I got into the MLS draft, which was a cool accomplishment. Not something I didn't really think would happen in a million years, but obviously I didn't get drafted, and then kind of got into coaching from there. But yeah, it was just a cool experience, just kind of travel over the country just to get recognized for the hard work that I put in for not just the last couple of years, but kind of ever since I was 4 or 5, I mean, it eventually comes to fruition. So I got lucky for sure, but I think it was a cool experience to say the least.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. So obviously, like you said, you start transitioning to coaching. And so actually a few people have this question. We have Kendall from your 03s, Kira from the 05s, and also Marin from the 05. They want to know, how did you start? What made you want to start coaching? And then how did it happen? And then what do you enjoy most about it?
So a couple things there. So when I was doing those combines and whatnot, I was taking a coaching class for one of my minors, and I had to get educational hours, so kind of viewing hours. The women's coach that I coach under right now, Michael O'Neill, used to be my coach on the men's side back when I played, so I have a pretty good relationship with him. And I asked him, hey, can I come get some hours with the women's program? And went there for a couple of days, didn't really do much, just kind of observed. And then eventually after a few days, he kind of allowed me to do a few things, and immediately I kind of got hooked. And that was kind of my light bulb that switched on, that said, hey, I want to do coaching for the rest of my life. This is cool. Doesn't really feel like work too often when you go and coach a session or coach a game. Obviously it's stressful at times and there's things you got to do, but it's just the best job in the world. I mean, you get to interact with kids. I mean, you can go from 12 games in a day and you can lose 11 of them, and you get to that 12th game and the kids are bubbly and they're telling jokes or whatever it is, and it immediately changes your mood. So that's kind of a big thing that I enjoy quite a bit about it. There's 30,000 ups and downs that you go through sometimes in a day, it feels like, whether it's referees or whatever the situation is, but the kids really make it all worth it at the end of the day, whether you have a bad session or a great session or whatever it is. I mean, you can always look back and say, and you got to the enjoyment of being able to be a leader of great young men or women. So that's what I think the cool part about coaching is, for sure.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. No arguments there. So what are some of the, obviously you're still young in your career. I mean, there's coaches that have been doing that a lot longer than we have.
Yeah.
But so far, what are some of the biggest lessons you've learned?
Biggest lesson, just kind of make it so your kids know that it is all about them at the end of the day. A lot of times, especially I see it with coaches and other people, where they kind of, whether it's a coach or referee, they kind of make the game about them, which I think it's discouraging to the game. So just to let the kids know, like, I mean, obviously we're the leader of them, but this is your game. You guys got to respect it. You got to respect each other, and you just got to, at the end of the day, enjoy the heck out of it, because you're going to get old and you're going to get fat, and you're not going to be able to enjoy the game as much as you usually do. So I'm to that point now, and it sucks. So whether you're 7 or you're 17, you got to enjoy every single session, enjoy every single game. And that's the kind of biggest method or methodology I kind of use with the kids the best I possibly can.
Yeah, for sure. For sure. So this question comes from Allie Ferguson on your 05s. She wants to know, what is the biggest moment or, or proudest moment that you've had so far as a TC coach? I think she's fishing here. What do you think?
Yeah, it could be. No, I've had a lot of great moments as a TC coach for sure. I mean, whether just sessions, some funny things that have happened, some big games, some big wins, some big losses, tournament wins, all that. I think every coach has experienced that. But I was lucky enough and fortunate enough to win a state cup with the 05s that Allie Ferguson is on. That was a really cool experience for myself because one, I'm only 26, and I thought that was cool to win one that young, but mainly the kind of the journey that I guess it's cliche to say, but the journey that we kind of went on from August all the way up till, well, I guess you can go all the way back to June when I was helping out with them when they're at regionals, but it's just a really fantastic group. And I think they deserve to win it, which is great. But the enjoyment throughout the whole run was pretty fantastic to see. And especially lifting the trophy, it was pretty cool because state cups are tough to win. I mean, you got to win 7 games in a row, and we were the number 1 seed going into it. But the year before, I think they were one of the better teams as well, if not the best team, and they lost in the round of 16. So you can literally dominate a team for 99% of a game, and one kid could slip or whatever it is, and you could lose 1-0, and that's how the game works, unfortunately. So to win 7 games in a row and to play some really good teams along the way and claim that you're the best team in the state, I think was a cool thing because who knows if I'll ever win one again. I mean, we got a lot of fantastic teams up here in TC, so hopefully we can win a few more next year, but you never know. It's really tough to do. A lot of things got to go your way. You gotta have a good team, good chemistry, and you gotta get some lucky bounces along the way too. So that's probably it for sure.
Yeah, for sure. And I mean, the truth is, more than anybody, the ups and the downs, having the 05s winning, but obviously you had the 03s the year prior become runners up, which is something you got to deal with. But what I do want to know with both of those teams, obviously when you get into these state cups, especially when you get into to the knockout rounds, what are some of the changes you make as far as preparation and maybe tactics that go into those type of things?
Yeah, there's a lot that goes into it. It's quite the biggest thing is just keeping the players just kind of on the right mindset and the right frame of mind. That it's just obviously the teams you're playing usually get better and better as you go on, but just enjoy this run you're going on, because the 03s, the year before I took them, they went to the quarterfinals. So obviously that's a fantastic achievement. I mean, to get to the last 8 in the state, I mean, it's tough to even get there. And then the 03s, we had a really good run and we made it to the final. And I just think the whole entire time they were enjoying it. So that's kind of the best way I can kind of just let kids know. I mean, you might win this thing, you might lose this thing, but if you enjoy the whole run that you kind of go on, it's going to be worth it at the end. And the 03s this past year got bounced out in the quarterfinals to a team that lost in the final. So whether you're the best team in the state or probably top 5 is usually what I tell kids all the time. I mean, you've got a chance at winning it. So the preparation is not anything crazy. I mean, you got to make sure you're keeping kids fresh because obviously you're playing more games than other teams that aren't in the knockout stages. So you got to tailor your sessions to that and kind of work on set pieces. Penalty kicks are a big thing. Don't ever really do those until state cup starts, the knockout rounds start, because that's when penalty kicks obviously occur. So preparation is nothing really too crazy different. Just kind of making sure the kids are in the right frame of mind and they're sharp and sessions are good, and also everyone's healthy. That's the biggest kind of thing. That was something I struggled with. Even the 05s this year, we were losing bodies left and right throughout the year, and the 03s had a couple big injuries as well, which obviously always hurts. So
for sure. We've had a lot of players asking questions. Now that we're getting to some of the last questions, we're about to have some parents actually, which is nice. Okay. So this comes from Kelly Hamilton. With coaching, obviously, you've already said it's brought you a lot of joy. It's brought you, happiness. What she wants to know though is, what kind of things have you got to check off your bucket list, that you think maybe has become possible because of coaching or even soccer in general?
Yeah, something that I found is pretty cool. Obviously, something I wanted to do was win a state cup. So that's something that occurred to me. But just developing kind of like a relationship just with kids, not just in the soccer realm, but kind of as they go on into their life. That's why I think the college game is pretty cool, because it's not just a soccer aspect. It's life in general. It's how's your family doing? It's like, how's your schoolwork doing? It's not so much about that in the club scene. It's kind of like this 2 or 3 times a week, and we see them at games. So it's a bit different in that regard. But the college game is pretty cool because you see them kind of go from a 17, 18-year-old kid all the way up to kind of a grown adult when they graduate 22, 23 years old. A lot of things change. And then just kind of making sure that you stay in touch with them as they kind of get older and see how they develop into their lives. But that's something that I want to try and do more so with the club game as well, because I've had some of the older boys teams I coached down at Nationals Genesee when I first started coaching. I've had some of them either Instagram me or call me or text me, just either asking for advice or just Facebook messaging me saying, hey, miss you, how you doing, kind of stuff like that, which I think is pretty cool at the end of the day. Just not just a soccer relationship, but a personal friendship relationship as well.
Yeah, for sure. Absolutely. I mean, making a difference in anybody's life, I think we all can hope to do that for sure. So these next 2 questions are going to be the last 2 of this portion. It's actually a little duo here. So Tom and Lily Ames. Lily obviously plays for your 05s. This has 2 phenomenal questions. What is your philosophy on motivation in terms of, the individual and the team?
Okay. It's a good question. That's a tough one.
It is tough.
An individual and team. Cohesiveness, I guess. I mean, I could say a lot of kind of cliche things, but I think the biggest thing I kind of stress is just, I know I've already said this already, but just kind of hoping kids enjoy what I'm putting out for them to do. And obviously work rate, something that I preach quite a bit, but if you can work hard and you can respect the game, respect the players that are on your team, respect the referees, respect parents, and respect other coaches, and then lastly, you enjoy the game, I mean, you're going to be pretty successful, whether you're an average player, you're a really, really good player. I mean, that's going to go a long way for you. So individually, team-wise, I just think I love when I have some good chemistry on my teams and players enjoy turning up to practice, turning up to games, and you can see it on their faces when chemistry is going really well and chemistry is not going well. I mean, it's pretty obviously to tell. So a lot has to do with me, but a lot has to do with the kids as well in terms of how they interact with each other. But yeah, just having kids enjoy it and work hard is the biggest thing for me.
Sure. Little follow-up, actually, just my own. Does it change? Does your tactics of how you approach it, does that change with age groups or even genders?
Genders not so much. Age groups for sure. I mean, like right now, the way I go about doing a session or a game or something like that with the 07s is quite different than the 03s. I mean, there's a 12-year-olds all the way up to 16, 17-year-olds, right? So that's a big gap in terms of teenage years, and now they're kind of getting to the young adulthood. So the things kind of you're able to do with them in terms of communication and how you interact with them in terms of joking around, like how they are able to take that, is quite different for sure. And that's where you got to kind of toe the fine line of what can you kind of not say to these kids, but how can you kind of push them to their limits? How can you put your arm around a kid that really needs it? Is something going on with their family or whatever it is? It's just, it changes from age to age. Gender is really not too much. I don't really change my coaching philosophy too much, whether it's a gender situation, but age is for sure.
Awesome. All right. So what I want to do is we're going to transition a little bit here. And now we still have some questions, but they're going to fall into this category. It's going to be, quick fire, rapid fire questions. We're going to have some this or that, some just, general questions, and then also a portion that'll be, I'll give you 3 players and you'll pick to start, sit, or cut them. Okay.
I will see it. This should be interesting. We'll see how I do.
Yeah, for sure. Okay. So question, Messi or Ronaldo?
Messi, without a doubt.
All right. This one comes from Alana on your 07.
Okay.
She wants to know if you support Michigan or Michigan State.
I'm going to break her heart, but Michigan.
All right. I like it. All right. Hip hop or country music?
Hip hop.
All right. Pop or rock?
Pop.
All right. This one is going to come from Kelsey on your 07s. Who is your celebrity crush?
Jessica Alba.
Great choice.
Thank you.
Tacos or pizza?
Tacos.
All right. These next two come from Reagan on your 05s. Your favorite food?
Tacos.
Oh, look at that. Easy enough.
Just ate them an hour ago.
I love it. And then dream vacation.
Bali.
That's not a bad one. Netflix or Hulu?
Netflix.
All right. And a little follow-up from Natalie Vance. Have you watched the show Sunderland on Netflix?
I have not, and I'm going to get a hold of her about that because I'm going to start that on Tuesday, I think it is. I'm very interested in it.
Fair enough. This one comes from Marin, and I think this is another fishing question. Boys soccer or girls soccer? Which one do you prefer to coach?
Depends on the day.
That's a good answer. PlayStation or Xbox?
Xbox.
Calls or texts?
Text.
Watching or playing soccer? I know we're old now. It's tough, isn't it?
I don't get to play too much, so playing.
Fair enough. There you go. All right, now we're going to get into the start, sit, and cut. All right. Gerard, Scholes, Lampard.
Start Lampard. What is it? Start, sit, bench, or start, sit, cut?
Yep.
Cut Scholes because I didn't really watch them play. Bench Gerard.
Unbelievable. I should end this right now. All right. Torres, Falcao, Morata.
Morata. Cut Morata.
Cutting.
And then I'll start Torres.
All right. Ronaldo, Cristiano Ronaldo. Henry, Aguero.
Oof. Start Henry, bench Ronaldo, and cut Aguero.
All right. I guess. All right. Chelsea 05, Chelsea 2012, Chelsea 2013. So 12 Champions League, 13 Europa League.
Yeah, let's go. Just because I didn't get I saw him a little bit, but let's do start Chelsea 12, bench 13, and cut 05 just because I'm more familiar with the other ones.
Oh, cutting the start. The very first Jose season. All right. Fair enough. Sir Alex Ferguson or Pep Guardiola?
Pep.
Unbelievable. All right, last one of this. Possession or counterattacking?
Possession.
All right, there you have it. All right, so the next part.
Depends on the team, but mainly possession.
Yeah, that's fair. I expect big things from you. I want to hear your best 11 of all time.
Oof. Let's do Schmeichel in goal. Back four. Does that have to be a certain formation or what? 4-3-3?
Everyone else has done 4-3-3, but you can do whatever you want.
Let's do Cafu right back.
Love that.
Maldini and PK center backs, and Roberto Carlos left back. Center mid. Let's do Busquets holding mid with Zidane and Ronaldinho attacking mids. And then let's do Messi out on the right, Suarez down the middle, and Ronaldo out on the left.
It's a potent attack for sure.
Yeah.
Potent. All right. So the last
with that, you're doing something wrong.
Oh yeah, for sure. So the last portion of this is trivia. I got 5 questions for you. I related them to you. So a little bit SVSU, DCFC, and then Chelsea.
Okay. All right.
I know. All right. How many game-winning goals did you score in your career at SVSU?
Say 20?
No. I know it sounds surprising, but it's only 12.
12? Okay.
Yeah. You scored a lot more than 20 goals, but only 12 game winners.
Yeah.
At least on the site. They might have had it wrong. How many English players in your time at SVSU did you play with?
Multiple choice or just I got to know this exactly.
I'll give you within one. Just English, not foreign, just English.
Yeah. Just one, and then I'm gonna say like 6.
I said I'd give you within 1, so you're close. It's 5.
Okay.
Yeah. I'll give you this is not part of it, but bonus. Can you name them?
Louis, Toby, Reese Coogan is English. Was he on? Do you have him? Okay.
Yep.
Because he quit early, and then
Yeah. Who are you missing?
wasn't a goalie. Must have been a. I feel bad. Who is it?
It's a good question. I think you said a nickname for one, so got me. Hang on. We're gonna find out real fast. I'll get it to you after this, but I'm pretty sure you got 4 of them because was it Ulu? One of them I can't say the name.
Michael Lamb, Louis Barrow, Toby. I don't know what his official name is. It's that's probably the one you're thinking of.
Yeah, I think so.
And then Reese Coogan. Yeah.
Yep. So that'd be it.
Oh, Omar Sinclair.
Omar. Yeah, Omar. Thank you. Yep. I knew it was a one glaring one.
Yeah.
All right. So for DCFC, every year the fans vote for the player of the year. I believe I think it's the Black Arrow Award.
Black Arrow, yeah.
Yep. Who won it in 2015?
Is it Jeff Atkins?
David Edwardson.
Okay.
All right. Which team did DCFC Which team did DCFC lose to in 2015 in the Lamar Hunt U.S. Open on PKs?
Yeah, we were down a man. I ran about 17 miles that game. Starts with an Louisville. Can I just get it with Louisville? I don't know their logo. Was it a bird?
No, actually, it wasn't. It wasn't even a Louisville.
What was it?
It was the Bucks. You lost 3 years in a row to the Bucks.
Oh, that was 16 then. We lost to Louisville.
Yeah.
We won on PKs in 15. No, that was 16. We won on PKs. Yeah. Horrible memory, man. Horrible.
It's all right. I was just saying. Again, you can blame the website if
that's correct. That's correct.
All right, last one. Chelsea hold the record for fewest goals allowed in a season, which, by the way, was in 05, which you shunned and cut. How many goals did they allow?
Say 13.
You're close. 15.
Hey, I give myself about a C for that.
It wasn't bad. It wasn't bad at all. All right, man. That's all I have. Before we go, is there any last words that you have for, any players, any families watching right now?
No, this is great. I mean, I look forward to hopefully getting on and doing this again, and looking forward to seeing your interview whenever you get that done. So this is cool. I appreciate it. I hope the families and the players, when they tune in, they enjoy it, and I look forward to hopefully seeing them out on the field whenever we can get out there.
Absolutely. Obviously, again, I want to thank all the families that sent in questions. Big help. That was a lot of fun getting to hear all the questions you had. But again, thanks for tuning in. It's been Tactical Foul. I'm Kyle Grew, Tyler Channel. If you're ever looking for more information on Tyler Channel, you can listen to our, we did a long form podcast over at anchor.fm/tacticalfoul. But thanks again, guys. We'll see you next time.